Today on Cooking is Everything, I'm going to take you from being a potluck zero to a potluck hero. When people think of green bean casserole, they think of this stuff. Get that out of my kitchen! A potluck hero uses the real stuff. Oh, it's going to be the best green bean casserole ever. Now, potluck hero only uses the freshest ingredients. I want to make sure that they get all nice and clean. What we're going to do is snap the ends off of these like an 80s villain from an 80s movie. We're going to use 16 ounces of regular white mushrooms. Make sure they're nice and clean. And of course, friends, make sure you stay hydrated when you're cooking. We've got some fresh thyme, about 4 or 5 sprigs, some fresh rosemary, got some Italian parsley. Italian parsley is different than regular parsley. It's a little sweeter, got a milder flavor. Some garlic, about 6 cloves, 2 things of shallots, and 1 whole onion. So we're going to be making a compound butter because we want to render out that fat along with the mushrooms to get a yummy, delicious flavor. So let's get started. So we'll start with the thyme. And a little easy trick with thyme is take it from the head and move down. It smells like the holidays. And we move on to the rosemary. Similar thing with the rosemary, you start at the head, pull down. Get the parsley all chopped up nice and fine. Chop, 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 all day long. Chop, 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 when I sing this song. So we're breaking up the garlic because garlic makes everything taste better. And smashed so you can take these peels off. I like mine pureed and I like it smashed. So get a garlic smasher. Put your garlic in your smasher. Want to do just 2 cloves or at a time, otherwise it's overload. You just smash with your hand like that, and then you use a little knife. My wife thinks I use garlic too much and things. I don't think I use enough. I love garlic. All right, now we got 1 whole onion. Cut it right in half. On this, we're not going to cut on the root end. We're going to cut on this end. And it makes it easier to peel the paper off. Covering of the onion. So we're just going to cut from the halfway point down the middle. And then we want nice thin slices. Because this is what's going to go on top of our green bean casserole when we put it in the oven. While you're putting them in the bowl, you want to break them up. You want to break these pieces up because they're going to be little strips that go on top of your green bean casserole. Little strips of goodness. I'm not crying, you're crying. Now this next part you don't necessarily have to do, but I like to do it. I also like to add shallots. If you're not going to do shallots, then do 2 onions. But I like shallots because they have a little sweet taste to them. And I love the way it sounds. Shallots. Shallots. Excuse me, did you put shallots in my green bean casserole? Yes, I put shallots in the green bean casserole. Like, oh my god, that's so fancy. Cut the shallot half down the middle. And then same thing, you just break them up. You also break them up when you flour them towards the end when we get ready to fry these babies. Gotta have another beer. You gotta stay hydrated. A potluck hero goes through unnecessary steps and makes unnecessary things like compound butters. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the Italian parsley, the rosemary, the thyme, just a pinch of salt, some pepper, a We'll sprinkle of pepper. About a quarter of the garlic that we mashed up, because we want to use the rest of that garlic when we make the cream of mushroom soup. Get everything all mashed in there. All nice. Now sometimes you can add a little zest. Put a little bit of lemon zest in there if you like yours a little citrusy. So after we get everything all mixed up, you can set it aside because that's going to be used when we cook down the mushrooms. So let's get ready to become potluck heroes together. We're going to make this green bean casserole right now. So we want to get the heat up just a little below halfway. And then we're going to use that compound butter that we went through all that trouble making. We're going to get a nice dollop of it. It's going to give us some yummy flavor. Set that to the side. Let that melt down. And then our other ingredients are going to be our mushrooms. About 1.5 cups of cream. And then we have a cup of chicken broth. Get the mushrooms cooking for about 10 minutes because you want them to have a nice brownness, look like they've been grilled on top. At the same time that we're cooking the mushrooms, we're gonna get a pot full, about halfway full of water, and we're gonna get the water boiling because we're gonna blanch the green beans for about 3 minutes. Then we're gonna take them out and put them into an ice bath so that way it stops the cooking process because they're gonna finish cooking inside the oven. Smells like fatty goodness. Okay. Butter's melted down enough. Throw the mushrooms in. You want to cook these until they got a nice brownish hue to them, or look like they've been nice and grilled. Get them all coated with that yummy compound butter. It's going to take about 10 minutes. And then our water is almost ready for the green beans. Browning about halfway through. Now we'll add a little bit of pinch more garlic in there. Sprinkle just a little bit of pepper in there. We're not going to add any salt yet, and the reason why we're not going to add any salt is because we're going to add about half a pound to a pound of bacon. So unless you're going to be using unsalted bacon, I would hold off on salting. We're making our own homemade cream of mushroom soup that would make Grandma proud. Give that a few more minutes, and then we'll add the cream. Alright, so we got our mushrooms all nice and browned. Looking all beautiful and whatnot. We're going to lower the heat just a little. And we're going to add our 1.5 cups of cream. You want to use heavy whipping cream. Not half and half, heavy whipping cream. And this is creating the base of our cream of mushroom soup. Now while that's cooking, we're going to add about 6 to 8 sprigs of thyme. Give it that extra layer of flavor. We're going to let that and set that come to a slow boil. Our water is now at a nice boil, and we're going to blanch the green beans for about 3 minutes. Alright, so now the green beans will go into the boiling water. Be careful because the water is very hot. This is going to be so freaking good. After the 3 minutes, we're going to move these green beans over to the nice icy bath. Because we don't want them to be mushy after we bake them in the oven and crispy by the time we get them into that. Alright, so we have a little bit more than half a pound of bacon. What we're going to do is we're going to cut this into slices, and this is going to give us even more flavor. We're going to render down the fat, get it all nice and grilled up until it's like a crispy brown, and then we'll add the cream of mushroom soup mixture in with the bacon and the bacon fat. That's what's going to give us our flavor. You kind of want to do this while the bacon is still cold, because then it makes it easier to cut. Alright, the cream of mushroom soup is about done with the heat, so we're going to take out the thyme. You want to make sure that your blender can take hot liquids, because if not, you're going to have a mess and you're going to ruin your blender. So make sure your blender can handle hot liquid. Because what we're going to do is now we're going to transfer this over into here. While the bacon's cooking, we're going to drain the green beans. Nice and green. Smell that bacon goodness. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, that's a lot of fat. That fat is what's going to be the base for the flavor for this green bean casserole. So trust me, it's going to work. You just have to wait and see. What I would recommend is lowering your heat. If you don't lower the heat, you're going to have a cream of mushroom mess all over the place. So half of what you were doing. Add in about 2.5 tablespoons of flour. Use a whisk. You're going to mix that in. And the reason why you're using that flour is because you want to thicken up your soup. I made this about a week ago for my wife at like 5 in the morning for her work's potluck, and I was half asleep and I didn't add the flour, and they had soupy green bean casserole. So sorry guys, I hope it was still good. Add the rest of the flour in. Take a cup of chicken broth. Add in the cup of chicken broth. Give that a good stir. Look at that. That's the base of our green bean casserole right there. Now, what we're gonna do is gonna take our cream of mushroom and we're gonna add that in there. You wanna get all that out, all that yummy goodness out. Then, you wanna mix that all together. The salt from the bacon actually adds into the soup. So now we don't really need to add as much salt. Take a couple of pinches of salt. A little more pepper. Give it a nice little whisk again. See, all that bacon fat is now part of the soup along with the mushrooms and that compound butter that gave it that extra herby flavor. This is delicious. It's gonna be amazing when it's done. That's where it needs to be. Alright, now that your cream of mushroom soup is done, keep it on low heat so that way it stays nice and warm. And you want to get about 1/4 of the pot covered in vegetable oil. You want to get it hot because this is what we're going to fry our onions in. So when you start getting a little bubbling effect, that lets you know that the oil is hot enough to start frying. Alright, so we got our chopped onions and shallots from earlier. We're going to put about 2.5 tablespoons of flour. We're going to sprinkle it over that. We're going to take a little bit of the panko and we're going to sprinkle it over that as well. You use over how much panko you want. We're going to use the natural moisture from the onions basically to dredge the flour. So you have to get your hands in there, get a little dirty. And this is what's going to be the nice crispy topping on our green bean casserole. I'm going to put these in here to start frying. I would do them in 2 separate batches so you're not doing an overload. Let them cook till they get nice and brown because they're also going to cook when we put them in the oven. For about a couple minutes, we're going to put it onto broil because we're going to spread a little bit more panko on top of the green beans. So that way we get a nice crunchy green bean casserole once it's done. Alright, so our onions, first batch is nice and golden brown. Now with the onions done, we're ready to combine and get cooking, baby. Alright, so now we want to preheat the oven. Want to get it to 400 degrees. Woo, that's hot. Alright, so we're going to take our green beans that have been sitting, put them in the cast. Take our cream of mushroom mixture. Now we're going to pour that over our green beans. This is going to be so freaking good. Give that a nice mix. So get it all in there, all the nooks and crannies. Sprinkle that on top. Get the corners really good. Just gotta have onions in the corners, in the middle. I like a little extra crispiness on mine, so I'm gonna put some extra panko on top. Now we're ready for the oven. You wanna cook the green beans for 25 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. For the last couple minutes, you want to turn on the broiler because you want to get the top of the panko nice and toasted brown. But you want to keep a real close eye on it because you don't want to burn your onions. Smells like it's done. Now this is what a green bean casserole from a potluck hero should look like. Let's eat. Putting in the extra effort to get the fresh ingredients, making a compound butter, rendering down the bacon fat, making our own cream of mushroom really paid off. It made it worth it. This is what green bean casserole for a potluck hero should taste like. With this green bean casserole right here, you will win the day. I really hope that you like this recipe, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or suggestions, put them down below. I'll also leave a description of the recipe down below, and if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button down below. Also turn on all your notifications so that way you can be notified of any other future Cooking is Everything videos. Thank you for watching Cooking is Everything. Remember guys, the love you put into your cooking is the love that you'll get out. Cheers. I already forgot. There we go. Well, a lot of that fat is going to be soaked up with butter. I mean with...
I want to suck your blood, but not eat your green bean casserole.
Not Cool Whip, people. People will get Cool Whip. You don't use Cool Whip. You use heavy whipping cream.